near.
Alright guys, it's paint time. First thing we're going to do is obviously we're going to put down some primer. Also, you'll notice I haven't cut these holes out yet on this model just because don't have time. So first thing you got to do is we got to air everything out and get all of, you see in there? Get all the dust out. Also, you'll notice I do have a new mod here. This is because I'm going to be having chest clocks, so this is a new mod on table. The other tables I got to go back and put this mod in. No big deal. So let me get the air sprayer. Let's spray this bad boy out. Some knucklehead used my primer, so I just pulled this off the shelf. It's just automotive primer. It doesn't matter on this part of the process. Just get some primer on there so we can fill it. I'm not worried about any of this area here. So if we overspray, I don't care. I'm more worried about getting dust on my lens. All right. Can't believe somebody used my primer. Now we can shoot this with a gun too, but since it's all these nooks and crannies, this is almost kind of easier. Guess I still got some sanding to do. I forgot to do. It's all good because there's a sanding process after this, so no big deal. Yeah, last year when I had the event, I made this extra table. When I made the other ones, I just didn't do the paint process on it, so I can do it this year. So here we go. We already had a bad start, so I don't even have the right primer. So that's okay. I'm not so much worried about this field here because other magic's going to be happening there, so it's no big deal. More concerned about just getting seams and jams. when we do the second coat of primer, we'll do it with the right color. So don't worry about that. So I don't want to make sure this primer doesn't affect my tint. That's okay. We're gonna sand this off anyways. Basically what this is gonna do is reveal every little piece I need to sand and fill. It'd be way easier to see. Maybe a little more easier if I primed it in the right color, but it's all right. Okay, don't worry about trying to drench it, because we're going to be going over it again. And it looks like this took about an entire can. So since we're going to be doing it again, I guess we're going to need 2 cans of primer. And honestly, to get a good paint, I guess 3 cans of paint. Unless you're spraying, then just get the quart or whatever. These are good enough. Throw this away. Alright, so I'll fast forward to most of this, so this video won't be that long for you. I'll pop in later. We'll continue on with the sanding and puttying next, and then shooting it again. Then we're going to be sanding it again, and then maybe touch up shooting it, maybe not, depending on how much we sand off. And then we get a couple coats of paint, and we got some dipping to do. Alright guys, we'll see you next phase. Alright, now that your primer has all dried, we are going to be going over the whole thing with 150 grit sandpaper. We're just going to blast this whole thing, and then after which you'll see all these little lines here. Oops. So we'll go through and putty all these. All right, and right before I putty, I'll show you what I'm going to be using. So let's set this camera down, and we'll start blasting. All right, there we go. If I get in your way, sorry, but you get the point. You can easily feel if it's done or not. If it's not done, you know, keep on going. know, I think I'm gonna upgrade to a 1. That's why it's not working. This is the wrong goddamn grit. Somebody put the wrong grit in the wrong bag. Up here, bet. I thought it wasn't working very well. Like, I was about to upgrade my grit. All right, I'm coming. Some knucklehead put some sandpaper away. Didn't put it in the right spot. All right. I was like, man, this isn't working out very well. Oh. All right, here we go. So anyways, this is why I like to primer first and then sand, because I can easily see these lines here. I can see, oh, I need to sand more, I don't have to sand more. When it's all just wood, it's really hard to see the different layers as far as heights. This helps, you know, helps me anyways. I gotta reload. Now granted, if you're staining it, that's not gonna work. All right, reloaded, here we go. more. All right, takes care of that. Let's do some putty. Oh, and just real quick, the parts that I already primed already from prior, like these trackers here, we're gonna go over really quick with 220, and then we'll putty. So fortunately, let me do that really quick. Prep. Now for me, I don't need to worry about in here and all this kind of stuff because I'm doing something else, but you may not be doing something else, so keep in mind what's gonna show on your finish and what isn't, and that's the part you gotta sand. Luckily this year, I only have this one table to do since the other ones are done, so it's too hot to be making all these tables like last year. All right. Get some more. I have no idea if you can see me or not. Back on that. Got most of it. Don't have to get perfect because what's going to happen is we're going to do this again. And looks okay. Remember, the better you get it, the smoother it is now, the smoother your finish is going to be. If you don't give a crap, then you probably don't have to be this meticulous. But each time you don't sand, and then you spray more paint or primer, it's just going to get worse. So it's better to keep it minimal. That way, after you do your last coat of painting, and you sand it, you can sand it and the paint will still be there. You don't sand it off because you got so much crap from all the layers of stuff you're doing. You can actually sand the last layer of paint and it'll remain. Okay. You're good? Alright. Now let's get the putty. Ooh, the putty I'm going to use on this is actually a drywall putty. It's not a wood putty. Granted, if I was staining, you would use a wood putty. Painting, I use a paint putty. Get my camera here. Is it there? This is what I use. Hopefully the light's okay. Dry decks. Okay, so what happens is it's pink, but when it dry, it's white. So there's no guesswork. You go do something else and look over here later and see if it's white. But this stuff has a it's very easy to sand. You know, if you've used wood putty before, you know wood putty gets kind of hard to sand. You know, you gotta go through sandpaper. Actually, when this is done, you can just kind of sand it with your finger if you needed to. There's like nothing really there. Like I said, this is for painting, not for staining. So basically, I'm just going to go over pretty much every seam on the table, whether it's sanded out or not. I don't care if it's sanded out or not. I want to put putty there anyways. I mean, you wanted it to sand out, so there's less putty. You want to have mounds and stuff all over all your seams. Basically, just squish it in there, man. Just squish it in there. And what we'll do really quick, we'll go over the whole table. Not the whole table, I'm sorry. We'll go over the parts of the table that we have putty with 220. But we just sanded the light sanding with, the hand sanding we just did. We'll do the same thing over all these spots. And then we gotta do another coat of primer. Also, not just to cover seams, but there's any rough spots in the wood, any nail holes, knots in your wood you didn't like. I have some cut marks here, but they don't bother me because I'm going for a little bit of an aged look, so some tooling marks, those don't bother me. But a different project, it would bother me. I would take them out. But for this project, I don't care. It's not because I don't care because I'm lazy. I don't care because it's going to look freaking cool. Any assembly areas that, you know, for your nails? Any big ugly ones you get rid of? I don't mind if I miss a few here and there. Gives a little more character when you put the dip on. But for the most part, you don't want them there. You don't want it to look like this thing was built. You want it to look like this thing was born. And it was born this way. No wood seams. It was just born. You see that over there is already drying. We're gonna be able to start sanding by the time I'm done. That's another reason why I like this stuff better than wood putty. Wood putty would still be drying. And I have to use sandpaper to get it off, like gritty sandpaper, not fine sandpaper. The fine sandpaper, we want to go with the fine paper because we want to get rid of any sanding lines we just put in with the sander, sanding the whole table. That's the same thing too for going for character. You know, I don't mind some, but I don't want a lot. So if I see you know, any sanding lines here and there, that's okay here and there, but I don't want to see them all over the place. All right, let's work my way around the table. The drip sweat everywhere. All right, I think we're almost done with this. We're almost done. All right, looks like we got it all. I think we're good to go. All right, no more putty. All right, I'll see you guys back here in a few minutes and we will sand it up. All right, it looks like it's pretty dry. We're gonna take some 220 now and we're just gonna blast over all this. It should come right off. You said it's not like putty. It just comes right off. No problem. Since we sanded it pretty smooth, you know what I mean by smooth is all level. We really shouldn't see hardly any putty left when we're done because it was all sanded out. I prefer to do this by hand. You don't have to. Just I prefer to do it myself. Just easily apply pressure and take pressure off to make sure I don't have to end up puttying again. Little tedious, but gonna be legit. Careful, you'll notice you'll have like some over chunks here that get past your wood here. You don't want to make sure your wood isn't square. Make sure you keep those clean. You don't want to find out after you paint it that there's a chunk there that you should have got. Cool, cool, cool. Move the way down. Move the way down. Oh man, my back, I got stuck. Oh man. All right. Well, now I'm gonna go and air it all off with the hose, but I'm not gonna do that on the video because all this white shit, I don't want to get all over my camera. So I'm gonna put the camera over there somewhere. I'm gonna air it off. So we'll come back over here. All right, that didn't take very long. Just air it out really quick. Now when you see now, what I meant was, see the putty, it's pretty much gone. I mean, you really don't see a whole lot of it left. Just because when it was sanded, it was already sanded smooth. So you shouldn't see a lot of buildup of putty. It should pretty much blend right into the wood. If you start seeing a lot of putty, it's because you probably didn't sand enough to begin with. Okay, well, let's prime it out for the second time. This time I do got the right primer color, so it'll be more of a gray this time instead of a black. But actually it's back down the gray now since it was already kind of primed to begin with, and partially. So let's drench another coat of this, and then this should be it for priming. Now of course we got to sand after this, but this should be the last prime. Unless I find anything that I don't like on the build, and then I gotta go, you know, add more putty or something like that. Like I said, I'm not shooting this with a gun. Just because, remember in the beginning of the series, I said I wanted to try to do everything, you know, from Home Depot, easy stuff, where like you don't have to have this, that, and the other thing to do this build. You can just do it for low cost without having to have the big ticket items. But if you shot it, you'll save some money because it'll be way cheaper to shoot it with a gun than it would be to buy all these aerosol cans. But that's alright though. Because a good gun to do this is, I think ours, we have this little one. I think it was like $800 or something. So, you know, in that aspect, the rattle can is cheaper. So you want to invest in a sprayer. But if you got one, probably you'll save some money. Now I'm not fully priming these chambers because I don't care about these chambers. They're not gonna be in my final area here, so. Man, it's so hot today. We're gonna be lucky. We're gonna be lucky to spray some color. I'll not have to wait till tomorrow. Let me spray some color before I take off. That's pretty dope. Be a day ahead of schedule. And don't be shy. Put it on kind of heavy because we're going to be doing another sanding. So, you know, we don't want to be going back down all the way to the wood again. Oh, not too heavy. We don't want runs. Don't want runs. Sorry if I'm not very talkative. I'm holding my breath. Pretty strong. on, baby. I don't want to fire up can number 2. Let's get this, wrap this up. Come on, baby. Crap! See, I forgot to putty these corners, so I gotta have to go back and do it again. But I mean, see stuff after the fact. It's alright. Let this dry. This won't take long. We'll putty. I forgot to putty those 4 corners actually. So little setback. Little setback, because now I'm not sure if I'll paint today now or not. I gotta go wait for the whole drying process again. On top of waiting for this to dry first. So we'll see though. If not, we'll paint tomorrow. No big deal. Alright, well unfortunately we're back to putty some corners. Alright, I went ahead and fixed those 4 corners. Actually, I only had to fix 1. Basically, I forgot to sand there. It was mainly the blowout from my miter cuts. My miter cuts were pretty legit. So actually, there's only a little spot I had to putty on that one, which I did. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to get 320. We're going to go over this whole board by hand. And you'll notice here, you can see some parts of the wood. Oh, I don't know if you can see. You can see the. Can you see that? You can see the grain still. So you can see that it's a little rough. So we're gonna take all that out of the whole board. So hopefully this will take too long. So we're gonna hand do it. And all right, it's go time. Just making that super smooth. When you paint, it's all about the finish. It's all about the finish. No, this you can make it so smooth that the primer might get a little shine on it because you're actually buffing it out. So you might actually get a little glossy in some places, and that's cool. That's what you want. Just want to make sure it is super smooth. Now watch out for getting primer chunks on there. What's that's going to happen is they're going to get left on spots of your board, and you're going to have to get them out. So be careful on sanding on semi-fresh primer so you don't get have any mishaps. Okay, you don't want to push hard. Keep the paper light. Oh, look at that. Feel that. And all this prep is to make sure we just have the paint just lays down just nice and epic. Because painting process, the paint will take way longer to dry. So if you have to sand out stuff, you're gonna be waiting a long time. If you get it all out in the priming stage, you know, and just lay the paint down, so much easier. And please don't do any of that, don't get any paint primer combo, alright? You gotta put down primer and then you paint. Just because it says paint and primer in one. You don't want to do that. That's what noobs do. We're not noobs. Now, don't use that paint if it's a paint and primer. You can still use that paint, but make sure you do its own priming stage. Don't use that as the primer. Oh man, this is legit. So I'm not worried about all these sides because this is getting wrapped. Remember, if it's not, you know what you're doing, so if it's not going to be paint in there, then don't worry about trying to do this part. But if it's going to be paint, you probably should. You know where your paint's going to be, or whatever you're doing. Man, complain about how hot it is in here, but everything's drying so freaking fast. It's awesome. Okay, so we're done over here. We're done over here. So I think we will be able to lay down paint before I take off. That will be sweet. We'll get this sanded. We'll air it off again. And I think we can lay down some paint. Well, I think you got the gist of how long this is going to take, what kind of process this is. So let's go ahead and turn the camera off, and let us see you when I'm done. And there's a reason for me to fast forward to this whole section of me just doing this when I can just turn the camera off, and I'll see you soon. So let me finish this area, and I'll walk over there and we'll shut her down. I want to make sure you see this part so you can see how intricate it is getting into every section. Don't not do it. Trust me, you'll be happy that you did. So just be thankful you only have one table instead of a bunch of them like I had. But if you don't care if your finish is like glass smooth, then whatever. Don't worry about it. Just get your paint and primer in one, shoot it once, and then call it a day. So if you want your paint to be nice and smooth like glass, and unfortunately, there's a pecking order of steps, and this is one of them. Oh man, get too old. All right, we'll see you in a little bit when I'm done. Oh, well, that took longer than I thought. It took about 40 minutes to do all that needless sanding. We actually had to get into each of these cubes. It's all good to go. So let's blow this out. I don't mind having it run this time because it's not that much dust. So we'll blow this out. Check it out. minutes now, we'll be in the paint. So ultimate smooth we're looking for here. Feel everything. Whatever you miss now, sucks. Alright, I think we're good to go. Gotta blow it off again now, unfortunately. But all this, my friends, was well worth it. See what I'm talking about? It's pretty good. Remember, there's also going to still be 2 more layers of paint. So, yeah, and then we got to dip it. All right, well, this concludes the prep process. We'll get on to painting. All right, guys, see you next time.